April with the Centers for Spiritual Living theme has been fertilizing our future. And my talk today is blooming your sacred garden. And I've been reflecting on something simple yet deeply symbolic. That spiritual growth begins in the inner garden of our mind. I even wrote a book about it a few years ago, a handbook called the Mind Gardening Handbook, 4 Steps to Cultivate an Inspired Life. And I created what's called the Grace Formula. 4 steps. You have to weed the garden first, then you plant, then you nourish it, and then you get to harvest. Simple, right? And a little plug, these are on sale, half price today on the back. Take a few. So Charles Fillmore, the Unity work, said, the soil in which we grow the Christ ideal is our own consciousness. That's our soil. And Ernest Holmes said, never limit your view of life by any past experience. Let go of the old stories. Fertile soil is free of weeds. Fertile soil is free of weeds. So a few weeks ago, I had a knee procedure that left me feeling kind of low and tired, and I was like, poor me, for a little while. But I decided to buy myself a tulip plant because I love tulips. And I love having plants around my house, both inside and out, and I know a lot of you do too. And I think that I have a pretty good green thumb. And my plan was to enjoy the tulips while they opened in the pot, and then I was going to plant them outside to enjoy them as they came up in the years later. So I brought the plant home and I put it out on the front porch, and I promptly forgot about it. And that happened to be the week where it was like 80 degrees and sunny, like yesterday, or whatever it wasn't too long ago. I just totally forgot about the plant. And I went out at night to do something, and oh my gosh, each stem was like hanging. It's right there. Hanging. Oh my gosh, I felt terrible. I killed it. Oh my gosh, I killed it. Oh, I felt so horrible. Have you ever done that?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. So I brought it inside, and my husband's like, oh brother, you really did a number there. I said, it'll come back. I know it will. I love this plant. I'm going to just pay attention to it. I talked to it. I apologized. I gave it some loving care. And no surprise, the next morning I got up and it was boing! They were standing up straight.
Wow.
I did not kill it. So, that moment reminded me of how vital our attention is and our nourishment. Not just for plants, but for our own lives. Am I giving my energy to the right things in my life? Am I offering myself the right fertilizer? Enough rest, care, love, enough light? How often do we pour our energy into the wrong things? When the outcomes fall short, we spiral into self-doubt and judgment. Bless our little hearts. But mistakes are part of the process of life, aren't they? Our founder in the Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, Dr. Holmes, said, automatically you get rid of the negatives by planting of the positives. Negatives cannot exist when positives fill the space. He says, when the sunshine of love and confidence, which is your fertilizer, fills your whole being, the darkness of the negatives has to disappear. So when we begin to recognize those patterns that no longer serve us, do you have any of those? And we choose, however gently, to do something different. Transformation then begins. And often it's not in loud, dramatic bursts, but in quiet moments of awareness. Small decisions that you make, subtle shifts, willingness to respond rather than react, a whisper of faith when the path ahead of you feels dark. Our affirmation, I plant my thoughts with intention, I water them with faith, and I bask in the sunlight of divine love. Ooh. I invite you to repeat this. I plant my thoughts with intention.
I plant my thoughts with intention.
Water them with faith.
Water them with faith.
And bask in the sunlight of divine love.
And bask in the sunlight of divine love.
Ooh. And like plants, we cannot force growth, but we can create the right conditions. We can enrich the soil of our lives with love, purpose, connection to our divine inner self. So let's ask ourselves, what am I missing? What do I need to add to truly bloom? Wisdom, care, rest, balance. I remember last year, my power word for the year was balance. And what became very clear to me were two other words, pray and play. Pray and play. And it has served me well. So I remember to have fun too. Besides being so serious as a spiritual director and your spiritual Sherpa, I want to have fun too, so I play. When we begin to answer honestly, what am I missing? What do I need to add or let go of? We can trust. Trust the rhythm. Trust the process. Trust the unfolding. So this season of spring is about blooming. I mean, in our area, you can't get away from those blooming trees and plants and flowers. It also reminds me of patience. So I had bought a lily plant I brought both my plants today. I had bought it for Easter to bring, was Easter last week? Yes. And it was all closed. And so I thought, well, they'll open by Easter. I bought it like a week ahead of Easter. Well, Saturday night, they were not open. And I was a little irritated by that. And I thought, oh God, I've got to go buy one that's already in bloom. But I waited, and I trusted, and I relaxed, and I thought, well, even if they don't open, it's the symbol, right? Because lilies symbolize new beginnings. So it's okay if it didn't open. Well, wouldn't you know it, when I got up Sunday morning, one of them was open. Yes, just in time. So can we move ourselves from the striving of becoming into the art of blooming in our own time? Because, I don't know about you, but don't we do a disservice when we focus on, oh, I should have done that, I shouldn't have done that, I'm not doing it right, I'll never get it done. I know none of you ever have that talk. I certainly have been there. I call it the mental merry-go-round. When you get on that loop of self-doubt and criticism. So I want you for a moment to think of a simple rosebud. And at each moment of its slow blossoming, it is open as it can be. It is as open as it can be. And the same is true of our lives, I believe. In each stage of our unfolding, our allowing, what if we're exactly where we need to be? And there's nothing to fight against. that takes some pressure off. When I can truly be with what is, even if I don't like it. Right? Makes my shoulders drop. So imagine if a rose were to push itself to open faster, which it can't, it would tear. And don't we often push ourselves? And when we push ourselves to unfold faster than is natural, we can get confused and frustrate ourselves. Push ourselves. Anybody ever? Nature takes its time. And most of our problems come from impatience. We live in a world that's impatient. Have you noticed? Everything has to be done now. Well, doesn't that feel stressful? Jeez. So our task, I believe, is to allow our own blossoming, no matter how incomplete or flawed it may feel, to let our life blossom in its natural course, with faith that everything is in divine order and unfolding exactly as it needs to. I have faith in my blooming, all is well.
I have faith in my blooming, all is well.
I invite you to close your eyes for a moment. Take a breath. And contemplate a single rosebud in front of you. Maybe you're holding it. What color is it? Breathe deeply and see, visualize, and imagine the absolute beauty of this rosebud. Not having to wait for it to fully open, yet knowing its potential. Focus on the petals of the bud that are just about to open and see its beauty now. Appreciate its uniqueness now, just as it is. Take a breath and look upon yourself as such a rose. You don't have to wait to appreciate and see your own strength and beauty, your own potential. What if you appreciate the awesomeness of yourself about to open right now? Smile at your magnificence. As Jerry reminded us, you are magnificent right now, right where you are. And take a breath and come back. And turn to two people and say, you are unfolding beautifully. So imagine a world where we nourish our future the way we care for living plants, attending to what's depleted and enriching the soil and tending it with patience. What would life look like if we stopped chasing quick fixes and started nurturing deep, lasting growth? Sometimes blooming requires us to step beyond ourselves, to adapt, and to offer care in just the right way. Your garden is your life, and it is sacred. Your life is sacred. Did you know that? Every moment is sacred. So I invite you to stand up for a moment. And recognize that you're standing on holy ground. What if you are? Now take a few steps to your left. And you're standing on holy ground. Let's take a few steps back to the right. You're standing on holy ground. Did you know that? Because you're holy. sacred. Your garden is holy. The truth is that the soul of you is divine and sacred and holy, no matter where you go. Oh, have a seat. Interesting. Believe it or not. So for me, nurturing that tulip plant and observing the lilies was a small triumph in a world that can be very busy. And it was just a reminder for me that the smallest blossoms can carry some deep meaning. And that life's lessons often come wrapped in metaphors. Waiting patiently in a clay pot on my front porch, thinking I had done something awful, when in fact I just had to pay more attention and nurture it. And we all bloom when it's our time, I believe. So I want to say that Ernest Holmes has one more thing I'm going to read. Developing confidence in ourselves, in our ability to meet and handle all undesirable situations, requires that we must have confidence in that something which is greater than we are. And he has something with a capital S. Then we will have spiritual self-reliance. I love that. Because you all have spiritual self-reliance when you remember it. When this is done, he says, the lesser must always submit to the greater. Weakness will give way to strength. Despair will turn to hope. Hate becomes love. Failure will become success. And sickness will dissolve into health. The action that takes place is not one of overruling harshness, but one that moves in harmony with love, beauty, warmth, order, quietly transforming all that is unlike it. So we're planting a seed today, a seed of blooming and blossoming. So I'm going to close with a short story called The Problem with Dandelions. You ever had those? A man who took great pride in his lawn found himself with a large crop of dandelions. He tried every method he knew to get rid of them. Still, they plagued him. Finally, he wrote to the Department of Agriculture, and he enumerated all the things he had tried and closed his letter with the question, "What shall I do now?" In due course, the reply came, "We suggest you learn to love them." I'm not sure the Department of Agriculture would put that. So what if we thank those weeds that are in the garden of our mind, and we gently release them through all the principles and practices and methods that we have here at the Foothill Center for Spiritual Living, and that we stay in the love no matter what. How about that? We practice staying in the love no matter what. Are you in?